Before I got into this idea of flexible seating, I had always been in classrooms where students were sitting in rows or columns or groups. And while it was easy for me to walk through the rows and columns, I also realized it was creating systems in the classroom that I wasn't comfortable with. Students didn't feel flexible, or they didn't feel like they had the freedom when they moved into small groups and they were sitting at somebody else's desk. It was a sense of ownership in the classroom with a desk and a location that I didn't believe led to a collaborative experience in the classroom. So without having personal items in your desk, students now feel like this is our classroom. It's not my spot, it's just our classroom, it's our learning environment. And that environment can be at a rainbow table, it could be at a standing desk, it could be at an individual desk, because our belongings aren't stored in the desks in this room. And that's really big for me. I wanted students to be able to feel comfortable anywhere in this room, not just at their spot, because a desk is a small place. I'm very willing to share my space in here with a co-teacher or with other students. I feel like that sends a message to the students that while I am their teacher, their value in the class is just as great as my value in the class. And I really do feel like that. And I feel if somebody wants to sit in my chair, it's because they need to. And I let them because it makes them feel good. It might make them feel more powerful at that moment, and they might need that.
How many ones do I need, Kiana? I see 1, 2. Grab me my 2 ones. Kiana, how many 10s do I need?
So when it comes to flexible seating, there is definitely a method to providing the perfect seating style for each student. For example, some students work really well on the wobble stools. Other students work well on a traditional stool. Some students like to stand. And at first, these students are not used to identifying which form of seating is best for them. So we try it out. They tell us with their body language what works best for them. So sometimes it's a wobble seat as well as a foot cushion. Sometimes it's a standing desk. And it's almost as if it's a game of chess. We're trying to make sure that we have all of the pieces in place to play the game in the proper way. So I think it's really getting them to understand what they need, because coming in, they don't know all of the options that they have. And I really think once they find the right fit, their learning improves.
We're going to break into 2 of these. We're going to do this very quietly and very, very quickly.
I think the way that Ms. Clarke and I really like to have our classroom is we like to have freedom, but we also have discipline. There's discipline within the structure. So when we say the callbacks or make me your focal point, we expect that wherever everybody is, they're going to turn their bodies and make us their focal point. Or if we say macaroni cheese, everybody freeze, that means they stop. So there is freedom to, for example, in our tidy, we say tidy, 2-minute silent tidy. Everybody goes to the place that they know how to tidy and tidy. We don't tell them what to tidy, but as soon as that timer is done, we say freeze, go back to your home base. So we have the flexibility to move around, but everybody has a home base where they center back to. So we have freedom, and then we kind of come back in together. And that structure works really well to give the kids an opportunity to explore and enough structure to come back to us.
Wait till you see my signal, and you are going to say this number when you see my signal. Think of the number.
You know, just like students, students learn in a different way, they have different personalities. Teachers do too. That I've really, I think, kind of bought into, believe in, because every teacher has their own personality, you know. So I think, you know, one of the things that we can do, or that we do here at Pukalani, is to make sure that we are kind of fostering and nurturing teachers' individuality. You know, I think, you know, students may learn in a different way. whether that may be traditional seating, kind of teacher is lecturing, or they do small group instruction. Whatever that is, I think that the teachers, you know, they each bring something to the table. They each have their own strengths. And I think that, you know, if we can provide them enough time where they can learn from each other, you know, they'll pick up from each other some things that they want to try, and some different ways of presenting material, you know. So that I believe is very important.
I was at a kid's speech the other night, and it was like, it sounded like that.
Oh, so it sounded like the waves. Excellent.
And you don't know how much I've thought about that, where I thought, is it fair to them? Is it fair that they have to have this great way of learning and being, but then they have to go to 4th grade where it might be very traditional? And I worry sometimes, but I also think as human beings we have to learn flexibility, and we have to say, wow, there was one way, there's one way, but now this is a different way. And maybe at one point of their life they'll need to have these memories, and so I'm not going to change my way to meet the needs of everybody else, because one day they might be having a really bad day and they remember how mindful they were in 3rd grade. They remember how to remember their breath. So that's what keeps me going.